ॐ ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविरावीर्म एधी वेदस्य माणिस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माम् अवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। नारायण नारायण नारायण। First of all, I wish all the listeners of podcast a very happy Ashadi Ekadashi, which is also called as Devashayani Ekadashi. May Bhagwan Narayana and Mother Lakshmi bless us all with divine qualities and a spiritual growth on and setting forward on a correct spiritual path for all of us. Verse number 3 of chapter number 3 of Adhyaya 3. So verse number 3.3. श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम् लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्. Even though I discussed this, elaborated this verse in the last session, we discussed this verse in the last session. We'll continue from where we left in the last one. But I'll read today the Bhashya of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji on this particular verse, which I did not do it in the last session. लोके अस्मिन् शास्त्रानुष्ठानाधिकृतानां त्रैवर्णिकानां द्विविधा द्विप्रकारा निष्ठा स्थितिः अनुष्ठेय तात्पर्यं पुरा पूर्वं सर्गादौ प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा तासाम् अभ्युदय निःश्रेयस प्राप्ति साधनं वेदार्थ संप्रदायम् आविष्कुर्वता प्रोक्ता मया सर्वज्ञेन ईश्वरेण हे अनघ अपाप तत्र का सा द्विविधा निष्ठा इति आह ज्ञान योगेन ज्ञानम एव योगः तेन सांख्यानाम आत्मानात्म विषय विवेक ज्ञानवताम ब्रह्मचर्याश्रमाद एव कृत संन्यासानां वेदांत विज्ञान सुनिश्चितार्थानां परमहंस परिव्राजकानां ब्रह्मणि एव अवस्थितानां निष्ठा प्रोक्ता कर्मयोगेन कर्म एव योगः कर्मयोगः तेन कर्मयोगेन योगिनां कर्मिणां निष्ठा प्रोक्ता इत्यर्थः यदि च एकेन पुरुषेण एकस्मै पुरुषार्थाय ज्ञानं कर्म च समुच्चित्य अनुष्ठेयं भगवता इष्टम् उक्त वक्ष्यमाणं वा गीतासु वेदेषु च उक्तं कथम इह अर्जुनाय उपसन्नाय प्रियाय विशिष्ट भिन्न पुरुष कर्तृके एव ज्ञान कर्मनिष्ठे ब्रूयात् यदि पुनः अर्जुनो ज्ञानं कर्म च द्वयं श्रुत्वा स्वयं एव अनुष्ठास्यति अन्येषां तु भिन्न पुरुषानुष्ठेयतां वक्ष्यामि इति मतं भगवतः कल्प्येत तदा रागद्वेषवान् अप्रमाणभूतो भगवान् कल्पितः स्यात् तच्च अयुक्तं तस्मात् कया अपि युक्त्या न समुच्चयो ज्ञानकर्मणोः यद् अर्जुनेन उक्तं कर्मणो ज्यायस्त्वं बुद्धेः तच्च स्थितम् अनिराकरणात् तस्याः च ज्ञाननिष्ठायाः सन्यासिनाम् एव अनुष्ठेयत्वं भिन्नपुरुषानुष्ठेयत्ववचनात् च भगवत एवं एव अनुमतम् इति गम्यते मा च बन्धकारणे कर्मणि एव नियोजयसि इति विषण्ण मनसम् अर्जुनं कर्म न आरभे इति एवं मन्वानम् आलक्ष्य आह भगवान् न कर्मणा अनारंभात् इति. Rest is a connection to the next verse, which we'll read once we complete this particular verse. So, Supreme Consciousness Bhagavan Krishna answering the questions of Arjun, and I told you in the last session, Arjun's question are basically the Gomukh of this chapter or the starting point of this chapter. Gomukh of this chapter means Gomukh is where Ganga ji starts flowing out and becomes Ganga and blesses everyone on the way. So Gomukh actually means the glacier from where Ganga ji starts. So Arjun's question basically is the starting point of this particular chapter. Since Arjun asked the question, Bhagwan comes up with an elaborate chapter expounding upon different aspects of karma. Many of those things which we saw in the last session, and I left at a particular point, and there was a reason I left it there, because the point I was wanting to discuss from there, which I'm going to take up now, is a little sensitive point to understand. And if we do not understand it correctly, or if I, do not complete that topic there, it will send wrong signals and people may grasp misunderstanding from it, and that is one of the reasons why many misunderstandings sprout out about religion, so to say. So where I left in the last session, I'll recap a little bit from there so that I can continue the discussion and forward today. Bhagwan says the Adi Guru, or the actual Guru, or the start Guru, the first Guru of this creation is actually me. And I had brought out this sutra from Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which says Sapurvesham api Guru Kalena Anavachhedat. There might be some jiva who is only capable to become an adi. There is only one kind of a jiva, or a particular jiva, who can actually be capable or qualified to become an adi guru. Who is that one? Who is already a complete, what you call a complete jnani, or completely a man of firm wisdom, steady wisdom in the last kalpa. Last kalpa means in the last when the last time the creation was there, before the creation went into pralaya, or went into an unmanifest state, so to say. So only a person who has been knowledgeable in the last creation, when this new creation comes up, he is the only one who can be born as a jnani, or a man of wisdom, or a man of study wisdom, or a mahatma, or a jnani, so to say, right? It means what? That person who has not been an ajnani, or not been an ignorant man in the last kalpa, can only be born in this kalpa as in the starting as a guru, right? And that only can become an adi guru. Now the other question which should sprout in my mind, which I also picked up in the last session, is that if someone has already gained the self knowledge and is already firmly placed in that self knowledge, is a man of steady wisdom, in this life itself, why will that person be born in the next life? So then, who will be born as an adi guru? That is why this statement of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that only Bhagwan can be the adi guru, the guru at the start of the creation. Why? Because Bhagwan is always full of knowledge. Full of knowledge means what? He never reaches a stage of being non-knowledgeable or ignorant. He is always every point in time completely full of knowledge. He has the knowledge all the time. Now one of the thing I want to say in that respect is also this, and I said it in one of the podcast episodes initially also about this. It's not that Bhagwan had to go and read these scriptures and then told Arjun that, Arjun, wait, I heard your Vishada, I heard your sorrow, I heard your misplaced compassion. Let me go study and come back. Bhagwan didn't say all those things, right? Instantly at that moment, Bhagwan just started giving the knowledge. Which means what? Bhagwan already had the knowledge. Then the question should sprout out in us. Bhagwan was with Pandavas since their childhood. Even when Pandavas were in exile, Bhagwan used to keep on visiting them. Why did Bhagwan not give the knowledge? Bhagwan had the knowledge all the time. Remember, Bhagwan is, only Bhagwan is such I cannot say even person. Bhagwan is the only one who has actually knowledge all the time. Every time, even when the Srishti is there, Srishti is not there, manifest, unmanifest, everything happens in the what you call that, in the leadership of Bhagwan, and in the ownership of Bhagwan only everything happens. So Bhagwan is always full of knowledge, right? So it's never a point in time that Bhagwan is without knowledge or devoid of knowledge at any point in time. So I said that Bhagwan had the knowledge even when Pandavas were in exile. But then why did Bhagwan not give the knowledge at that time? Because Pandavas were not ready. Simple as that. And I've said that quite elaborately at one place in the earlier part of the podcast also. Bhagwan used to meet them. They had enough devotion also. But the only thing which was missing in them, in their devotion towards Bhagwan, is that all the Pandavas had devotion towards Bhagwan, that Bhagwan is according to them, Bhagwan is a very higher being with very high caliber and qualities, so to say. That's how they understood, because they used to consider Bhagwan as one of them, because he was at the same time almost at the same age group as Pandavas were. So they used to consider as friend, Sakha, and all. And the prayer also I said, na, Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakheti. They used to consider Bhagwan as friend. Remember one thing I told you very clearly. One cannot gain a knowledge from one's son. One cannot gain a knowledge from one's friend. One cannot gain a knowledge from one's father. One can only gain a knowledge from a guru. So, even if in some family, a son and becomes a guru, for parent to gain that knowledge, they have to accept that as a guru. And the best example for that is Srimad Bhagavat. You know, oh, Kapila Bhagwan's mother, her mother Devahuti, she Kapil Bhagwan, she did lot of sadhana to have Bhagwan and Kapil to be born as her son. And when her husband and left her, so she was devastated at that time that he already said that I want to go to the forest because that's my ultimate goal. So she looked up to sun, and when she came to the sun, she did not go to the sun as a son and a mother speaking to a son. She went to the sun as a disciple speaking to a guru. And the same example is given in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also, where Gargi is the wife of Yajnavalkya, and Gargi and another one was Katyayani, and Gargi both were wife of Yajnavalkya. And at a certain stage in life, Yajnavalkya decided to divide whatever he has earned and accumulated equally into both his wives, and go to retire to the forest. When he was leaving to that forest, at that time he called both his wife and said, I've decided to go to the forest because that's my ultimate goal. I'm dividing all that I've earned and accumulated till now amongst both of you equally. You both of your life will be easily going through with this whatever I've earned. You will never have a problem. So stay happy with that. At that time, second wife of Yajnavalkya, Gargi, asked Yajnavalkya this question, that you have lived a big amount chunk of life with us. You have enjoyed life with us. Because you had enjoyed life with us, that's why you were together with us. So if now you are leaving us for something else, that means there is a bigger enjoyment for which you are leaving us. I need to know what is that bigger enjoyment. At that time, Yajnavalkya turns to Gargi and says, you are absolutely right. I'm definitely going for a bigger enjoyment than whatever can be gained in the world. But that it's about the self discovery, so to say, and I'm going to immerse in that. So Gargi said, if that is the case, I want to come with you. You give my half also to the first wife, which is Katyayani, to the other wife, which is Katyayani, and I'm ready to follow you into the forest. At that time, Yajnavalkya says, Gargi, it's not going to be easy, because just by following me to the forest, you are not going to gain the knowledge. There you need to remember, if you follow me to the forest, you cannot live with me as my wife, and I will no longer be there as your husband. Only you can gain knowledge if you accept me as your guru. So Gargi accepts Yajnavalkya as guru, and she also follows Yajnavalkya in forest. And remember, from the questions of Gargi, there is a whole Upanishad which has come out called Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is one of the biggest Upanishads in the series of Upanishads available in Sanatana Dharma. There were 1,000+ Upanishads, but now there are only 108 which are available. Of the 108, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is the biggest Upanishad, and it has got all the questions and all question answers between in Yajnavalkya Rishi as a guru and Gargi as a student, seeker, disciple, so to say. So the point is, only Bhagwan can be guru. There, with Pandavas, they understood Bhagwan as somebody, as a higher being, even at their age, somebody more qualified than them. But that doesn't give them access to gain knowledge. Only when Arjun surrendered to Bhagwan in verse number 2.7, when he surrendered to Bhagwan and said, I accept you as my guru, and I am ready to accept the position as a disciple, please rule over my intellect. That's when Bhagwan starts knowledge. And there also Bhagwan instantly starts knowledge. Bhagwan is the only one in this creation who is always full of knowledge. Now, that brings to another point, another aspect of bhakti, so to say. Those people who are very, very dearly devoted to God, remember one thing, God will make sure that knowledge also happens within them, because Bhagwan is always full of knowledge. And the biggest example I can quote for that is Mirabai. Mirabai, when she left, there are a lot of incidents. Some incidents I've already spoken in previous episodes of podcast also. What, whosoever is devoted to God very, very deeply, it is not possible that God will not bless that person with self knowledge and liberating knowledge, because knowledge alone liberates. Huh? Remember one thing, from bhakti also, bhakti is for what? Bhakti is also a kind of karma yoga, but bhakti is to gain the required qualification to be ready for Sankhya yoga. Ultimately, what is going to liberate is Sankhya yoga only. Sankhya yoga means not the Kapil Bhagwan Sankhya yoga here. The Sankhya which Bhagwan is saying, which is the knowledge about the self. That is the only thing which is going to liberate. So, now if somebody is already knowledgeable in the previous kalpa, he or she won't be born in this kalpa to become a guru. Why? Because but that person will get liberated. Why will he come in this new kalpa? So only one who can become an adi guru, that the only such one who can become an adi guru is Bhagwan or Paramatma, or the supreme consciousness Bhagwan Krishna, or supreme consciousness Bhagwan Rama, Bhagwan Shiva. All of them are manifestation of supreme consciousness alone, only for blessing their devotees. Why? Because they are Nitya Jnana Swarup. They are always contained, always possessed with the knowledge. Possessed not in the wrong sense. Huh? They are always full of knowledge at all the time. They are never devoid of knowledge at any stage, in any kalpa, at any point in time. So that's why Bhagwan and himself, when the Srishti is brought back, this creation is brought back from the stage of Pralaya, from the stage of unmanifest, when this creation comes into a manifest stage, what happens? Bhagwan, along with the creation, makes the knowledge of Vedas appear along with it. He presents that along with the creation at the time of giving the creation itself. That's why, so said in one of the podcast episode also, it is said, Yasya Nishwasitam Vedaha. The Vedas, or the knowledge of Sanatan Dharma, is like the breathe in and breathe out of Bhagwan. Now, breathe in and breathe out of Bhagwan, and why I saying, because for our breathe in and breathe out also we do nothing. We are not the creator of our breathe in and breathe out. It is something which comes with us and it goes with us, right? Along with us. So breathe in and breathe out, we cannot claim that I only created it and I am only going to stop it. No, you can't do anything about it. It will complete one particular cycle, and it will be, once it gets over, the cycle is over, it will go. Right? We are not the doer. We don't have the doership of our breathe in and breathe out. I'm not talking about what is taught in yoga of Kapal Bhati and Anlom Vilom and all. There we are doing pranayam, and it's an effortful thing. But the natural breathe in and breathe out of all of us is a natural process. It's nothing that we do about it. In the same way, since Bhagwan is always full of knowledge, whenever this creation comes, Bhagwan makes sure that the knowledge also of managing this creation or moving about in this creation, and also comes along with this creation. So Bhagwan's, and whenever Bhagwan created this is manifested this creation, along with that Vedas were also manifested. Along with that, Bhagwan presented that. Bhagwan says that I gave two paths since the beginning itself. In my Vedas, whenever I gave in the beginning of the creation itself, from the beginning of the creation itself, I have always spoken about two paths in this creation which are available. Tasam Abhyudaya Nishreyasa Prapti Sadhanam Vedartha Sampradayam Avishkurvata Maya. Vedarth means here in this meaning, in the meaning or the summary or the summarized teaching of the entire gamut of knowledge available in Vedas. That is what is called Vedarth. The meaning, Arth means meaning, Ved means the Vedas. So the complete or the essential meaning or the meaning essence of Vedas is called Vedarth. So Bhagwan says is when I presented the entire Vedas, when I presented the entire, or when I manifested the entire Vedas, the entire knowledge of Vedas, of Sanatan Dharma, are keeping in mind two kinds of qualified students or two categories of students with different levels of qualification, and I only gave the teaching to both those students so that they can both those categories of students, the both those different set of paths, so that they can carry forward that as a teaching going forward. Now, here, when I say qualified students, now that is where I wanted to touch base, and why I said it's a little bit sensitive topic. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji in his Bhashya also says, where I read na tasam abhyuday nishreyasa prapti sadhanam vedartha sampradayam avish kurvata prokta maya sarvajnena ishwarena. There he uses one word over there, that trivarnikanam. So that is why I said it's a little contentious topic to understand, but actually what is mentioned is absolutely correct. Bhagwan Shankaracharya is absolutely correctly mentioned there. Now, why Trivarnikanam? Trivarnikanam means the three Varnas people, Bhagwan says, are the ones who are capable or qualified for the path of knowledge, so to say. Now, why Bhagwan is saying, and he says that Shastra Anushtana Adhikritanam Trivarnikanam. Three kinds of, three categories of people, or people of three Varnas. What are the four Varnas? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And I told you, it's a little contentious topic, and if someone doesn't explain it correctly, that is what leaves the seed for, communal kind of tensions coming up. Because these kind of topics are a little sensitive matter. They need to be dealt with utmost care, and they need to be explained in their correct import and impact. They need to be explained in their correct meaning. Why Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji says Shastra Anushtana Adhikritanam Trivarnikanam? The three Varna people are the one who are qualified for, or gaining nishtha in the teachings of Shastra, gaining complete faith and devotion towards the meaning or Vedarth. Arth means the Shastra Anushtana means are qualified for or following the teachings of Vedas correctly. Why it is said that? Now, there is one word which I am going to use. You have to understand that alone in the correct form. Now, Bhagwan says, who are the qualified students, and who are the people who are qualified to follow the teachings of the scriptures? And according to Bhagwan, the entire human race, or the entire human mankind, is eligible to study the scriptures and follow the scriptures and their teachings. But what happens is, within the human race also, people are at varied levels of qualification and preparedness. Remember that, huh? Now, here I'm using that word. Those people who are spiritually very low, or they are very low in their spiritual quotient. In Hindi, we may use the word who are called Adhyatmik Shudra. Shudra, actually, the word means low. But Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra don't consider that way. They are different colors of the same society, depending upon. I've explained that in quite elaboration, so there should not be any confusion in terms of what I've already explained in the previous episodes of podcast. Okay, I told you it is the mixture of the difference of mixture between the three gunas. Those who are sattva pradhan and rajas as secondary, they are the ones who are colored as Brahman. I'm telling you, colored. There is a reason I'm using the word colored. All four colors are important for the creation. No, creation cannot run without any of them missing. Let me give the importance straight away. All four colors are important. Just think there are only Brahmins, the creation won't run. There are only Kshatriya, creation won't run. I've already explained that elaborately in the previous episode. Please go back and listen to that. and even only Vaishya their creation won't run, only Shudras are there, creation won't run. One meaning of the word Shudra is also low, but that's not what is meant by that. That is classified as that. But in Sanskrit the words have different meanings. So Bhagwan says those people who are very low spiritually, who are adhyatmic Shudra, those people are not qualified to follow the scriptural teachings correctly, or they are not qualified, right, to follow the scriptural teachings. Why? Because they do not have the capability, to do actions according to what is being prescribed in the scriptures. That is why Bhagwan Bhashyakar says, Shastra Anushthan Adhikritanam Trivarnikanam. There are only three varnas, or the people of three varnas, with the different mixture of gunas, which I already spoke about. Those three varnas, people of those three varnas are the one who are qualified to do actions as guided, as prescribed by the scriptures. As I said, this thing need to be understood very, very clearly. That is why I'm going to spend some time. Since I was almost at the end of the session and I could not have taken the session longer, that's why I did not take up this topic in the last session. So we need to understand here, when Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji is also talking, he is not talking about the four varnas as prescribed as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Here, what we need to understand is Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji is talking about Adhyatmik Varna, spiritual Varna. At the level of spirituality also, at the level of internal spirituality also, we all are at different levels. Some people at the level of spirituality are Brahmanas. Brahmanas means they've reached a stage where they can understand the spiritual teachings, grasp it clearly in the correct import, and apply that immediately in their life. There are other set of people, I'm explaining Adhyatmic Varna to you. There are other set of people who, when they listen to spiritual teachings, they are the ones who can follow spiritual teachings to an extent possible, and they can make impactful changes in their life. That is another thing. There are third kind of people, or Adhyatmik Vaishya, which we call it. So, so let me just say that Adhyatmik Brahmanas are those people who are very highly qualified. They are so ready, they can take the teachings, reflect upon it, and walk the path of realization straight away. So such kind of people from the Brahmacharya ashram itself, they are ready and capable to walk into sannyas ashram straight away. They don't even need to, they can bypass the other two ashrams straight away and go into sannyas ashram straight away. For the Adhyatmik Kshatriya, now what is the core quality of Kshatriya? Kshatriyas have the ability, have the courage to fight for things. They can stand up for things. So these are those people who are Adhyatmik Kshatriya. They are those people who can take the spiritual teachings, number one. They can, and make an effort to gain spirituality also. They can, and what you call, beat the odds of against things going in creation. There may be, whenever we start to walk the spirituality, there will be many people, so called well wishers in our family, also in friend circle also, what's gone wrong with you? You are such a capable person, are you going to take sannyas? Why? And they will go and feed your family against you also, that stop him, he is gone out of your hand. But these Adhyatmik Kshatriyas, they have the ability, they have the courage to stand and fight for what they feel is right. So they are the one who can then, spend good amount of time to gain spiritual knowledge also, and have the courage to implement that in their life also. Now the third category of people are Adhyatmik Vaishya. Now the core quality of a Vaishya is that they are very high on collecting. Okay, collecting means what? I would use the word the Vaishya community, so to say. They are very good with money, managing money. What do you mean by good with managing money? Managing money means they will accumulate wealth very well. So take that portion into Adhyatmic Vaishya. Adhyatmic Vaishyas are those, they may not or do anything with the knowledge they have. They may not have the capability to, you know, implement that so much in their life, but they will collect the knowledge very well. So even that is also good. That is why the third varna is also, third Adhyatmic varna is also kept here. Why? Because they have gathered the spiritual knowledge. They have gathered the spiritual knowledge and kept it with them. I told you, spiritual knowledge gathered never goes waste. So in any of the life, they will, you know, shift from that varna to Adhyatmic Kshatriya or Adhyatmic Brahmana, and they will continue the journey because they've gained the knowledge, they've collected the knowledge. So these three people, they, you know, and remember one thing, huh? One thing I must say to you, Adhyatmic Vaishyas also, and you know, in the other side also, the Vaishyas in the creation, those businessmen people and all in the creation also, they are the one who are the biggest contributors for spiritual activities also. That is one of the reason they, along with it, you know, when I say they collect spiritual knowledge, it could be termed in either ways. They collect either spiritual knowledge or they collect enough punya by, you know, using their money well also, because they have wealth, they can contribute, they contribute and earn enough punya. I told you, you know, if spiritual wealth is divided into two portions actually. Punya is also a spiritual wealth, because you need punya to actually walk this path, you need punya to actually reach a guru, you need punya to actually reach the right kind of knowledge streams. There are so much available in this creation, many don't even reach the correct source of knowledge, so to say. So that is also important. So their, you know, Adhyatmic Vaishyas are those who collect either punya or spiritual knowledge. Both will be categorized in that, but both of that they collect will definitely give them benefit in the next life, so to say. Some get benefit in this life also. Oh, but for next life, sure, they are collecting good amount of benefit. That is one of the reason I told you, and I told my WhatsApp group of podcast listeners also. Don't leave an opportunity to earn punya. Don't leave an opportunity wherever you get to take advantage of spiritual classes and sessions. These two things you do not know how they are going to pay you back, and what they pay you back, other things won't pay you at all. So please remember that. So Adhyatmic Vaishya are those. Now Adhyatmic Shudra, so to say, use the word, or actually technically means those people who are very low on spiritual quotient. They are the one who do not have the capability to go to spiritual classes. I'll give you one joke which Puja Guruji used to make. Puja Guruji Swami Tejomayananji used to make. He used to say that, you know, there was one person who was got for a satsang, and he went to one of his friend and said, you know, I am not getting sleep, I do not know what to do. So he said, you do not get sleep. So this person also had benefited from spiritual classes. He said, you know, there is one satsang happening, go there, you will surely gain something, and I think your sleep problem will be solved. So this person, he doesn't have the capability to go anything. So he went to the spiritual satsang. There Puja Guruji said, I only said Om 3 times, and this man is gone off asleep. And he is sleeping in the satsang only. And so he went back to the friend and said, man, you are a genius, yaar. I tell you, what an advice. That sleep which I have not been getting for 2 months plus now, I got instantly in that satsang for an hour. So because the spiritual quotient is not there, it is very low. Even spiritual satsangs also that person cannot not attend. So that is what Varna Bhagwan Shankaracharya is talking about here. He is not talking about the Chatur Varnam, otherwise we understand in the society. The society Varna is not what is discussed here. So in society Varna, I told you the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra is a distinction of different levels of gunas. Sattva Pradhan, Rajas secondary, or you know, Sattva is primary and Rajas is secondary. He becomes Brahmana. Sattva as Rajas as primary and Sattva as secondary becomes Kshatriya. becomes classified as Kshatriya. Become Kshatriya means what? Becomes classified as Kshatriya. It's a classification of the available manpower in the society. It's a classification. It is not something to be labeled. It's a classification according to our internal gunas. It has got nothing to do with how society has understood caste and other things today. It's just a mere kind of a rogue kind of a thing which has been spread only for gaining political benefits. It has got nothing to do with us at all. So, when the rajas is primary and sattva is secondary, that person gets, it's termed as brahmana, get categorized as kshatriya. Sorry, not brahmana, as kshatriya. When the rajas is primary and tamas is secondary, that at category of people, they get categorized as vaishya. When tamas is primary and rajas is secondary, they gets classified or categorized as shudra. That is the meaning I've explained in the previous episodes, in the second chapter also, when I spoke about chaturvarnyam there. So here Bhagwan is talking about adhyatmic varna. When we take out wrong meanings, that is when there is revolt and agitation in the society, because and they start hating each other and all those things. You start spreading hatred around that. When we take out the meaning of scriptures like that, that is when we spoil the equation in the society. We spoil the peace in the society. We spoil the system in the society. And that becomes one of the main cause of inflicting injustice to whose set of people and category of people. Remember, varna is only for us to understand which varna we are, so that we can grow accordingly. Adhyatmic varna also I explained to you here. It's the right forum for me to explain you, so I explained it here to you. So here we need to understand this correctly, that none of these statements need to be translated in any wrong manner at all. I'm making it point blank again, so that no stones are unturned for any kind of misunderstanding. And remember, as far as supreme consciousness Bhagwan is concerned, he is addressing the entire humankind. That's why Bhagwan used the word lokeyasmin. In this entire world, to all sets of people, Bhagwan is addressing all. Why Bhagwan is addressing the entire human mankind? Because I told you in the previous chapter also, karmanye vadikaraste, in that verse, the right of action is only available to human, or only human beings are the one who have the right to choose their action. Rest all are pre-programmed. They cannot choose their action. They cannot change their action. Man can choose the action, can make his life also, can destroy his life also through his actions, which you can see around. I told you, you don't have to see much. Pick up the newspaper, you will see how many people are ruining their life with the kind of acts they are doing, with such a lackadaisical kind of a thought process, such a limited thought process, so limited they cannot even think what their act is going to draw them into, and they end up in pursuit of gaining happiness. They do these kind of wrong kinds of act, and they end up destroying their life also, and they end up destroying the life of their parents and siblings also. Now it becomes so difficult for parents and siblings to live in the society where their children end up doing wrong thing. And where do I need to go for those people, from Kashmir and all, who become and join and become terrorists and all? Just think the plight of their family who is there behind. They have no role, so to say. Maybe they eh, not sure how much they have put effort to correct their thinking of their children, but how much what you call that levi they have, how much power they have to change the thought process. But because of the heinous act of their children, the family is also not at peace ever till the time they are alive in this creation. That's the disastrous side of this thing. So, since there are two categories of people, those people who are actually qualified or capable to who walk the path of spirituality, And there is path who cannot, there are category of people who cannot walk the path. That is why Bhagwan said, I have given two kinds of nishtha, two kinds of paths. To, nishtha actually means firm faith, but nishtha actually means follow. So following happens for the path. We all follow a path, right? So here when I use the word nishtha, you need to understand Bhagwan is actually representing two kinds of path which people can follow, firmly walk the path. Now if there are two paths, you cannot walk both together. You have to choose one, and that one which you choose, you'll of course firmly walk on it, isn't it? Like I'm saying, if I reach a point where there are two paths, I can choose one. Whichever I choose, I'll walk firmly on that. That is why it is termed by a word called nishtha. One is the path for Sankhya. Sankhya means the path of self-knowledge. And one is the path for yogis. Yogi means karma yogis. The path of karma yoga. So these are the two paths. Nishtha means nitaram sthiti. Nitaram sthiti means such a situation or such a state from where I do not get shaken up at all. That is the literal meaning of the word nishtha. Nitaram sthiti, from a state where I do not shake up at all, from where I do not fall at all. I walk firmly on that path. I do not waver from that path at all. That is what is called nishtha. And if somebody says, let me explain the word nishtha also here. If somebody says, I have guru nishtha, I have complete faith in my guru, the meaning of that will be what? That his faith and his belief is reached such a state, his belief and faith has reached, and his devotion, belief and faith has reached such a state that it cannot be shaken up at all. Those people who misunderstand their guru, you cannot call that as guru nishtha. It has not become nishtha yet. Nishtha is a state that, how many amount of people come and say, I'm giving you an example straight from, Ramcharitmanas. This is the best example I can say. I have given this example also, but I'm repeating it here. The example of Mother Parvati, Ma Amba Bhavani. When she got reincarnated as Parvati after the giving up of body by Mother Sati. When she's reborn as Parvati, reincarnated as Parvati, she was doing tapas to gain Bhagwan Shiva. And at that time only, Devatas, Bhagwan Shiva was in deep meditation. Devatas, Indra, etc. became little bit, agitated that, Bhagwan is in meditation, and Bhagwan Shiva's son only can kill, Tarakasur. So, if Bhagwan Shiva is in meditation, that means he won't marry. If he won't marry, then his son won't be there. Then who is going to kill Tarakasur? And then we are getting a lot of trouble with that demon. So Indra sent Kamadev to actually divert the attention of Bhagwan Shiva, disturb the attention of Bhagwan Shiva, so that he moves out of meditation and he can be shaken up from meditation. And Bhagwan Shiva is Bhagwan Shiva. Bhagwan Shiva has, before that, Bhagwan Ram has already went to Bhagwan Shiva, and Bhagwan and Shiva is the biggest or the greatest bhakta of devotee of Bhagwan Ram. So Bhagwan Ram had gone to Bhagwan Shiva and already said that you must have understood about Tarkasur. Your son is only going to be has got your son only can kill Tarkasur. Or so since that is the thing, I would request you to marry. And Bhagwan Shiva has already agreed. And Devatas, without even understanding all these things, sent Kamdev to actually disturb the attention of Bhagwan Shiva from his meditation. Bhagwan Shiva said, I've already agreed. Now, who is this Dushta who has come to, disturb me? Bhagwan, from his meditation seat, opened his third eye. And the moment the third eye means the eye of knowledge, the moment the third eye got opened, Kamadeva got burnt into ashes. Now he became Ashariri. Ashariri means his Sharira is gone. So his wife Rati Devi came running, said, Bhagwan, it is not the fault of Kamadev. Devtas only had pushed him to come to you and all those things. Please forgive him. Bhagwan said, now he is already burnt. Don't worry. He has become a Shariri only. But he's still there. And now, as a Prayashchita, he'll be born on as a son of Bhagwan Krishna in Dwapar Yuga. That is what Aniruddha got born on, and afterwards when Bhagwan Krishna came. So that's how the story goes. Anyway, so when Kamadevta got burned, the Saptarishis went running to Mother Parvati. And they said, Mother Parvati, Mother, such a big injustice has happened to you. You are doing all these tapas, and Bhagwan Shiva has already burnt Kamadevta. And without Kamna, what is the use of a grahasthashram? So your tapas has gone waste. So Mother Parvati so brilliantly and beautifully answers that question. Mother Parvati, makes fun of the rishis. Mother Parvati says, so rishis, you are like such a big jnani. This is your jnana. You thought that Bhagwan Shiva became Bhagwan Shiva was a vikari, means full of kamna, all this while, and he became devoid of desires now. धन्य है, your knowledge is धन्य only. So अब लगे शंभु रहे सविकारा. अब तक till now Bhagwan and Shiva was full of desires. This is what you're understanding. In हमरे जान and सदा शिव जोगी, आज अनवद्य akam abhogi. This is how Mother Parvati has understood Bhagwan Shiva. You just see the level of Mother Parvati. That is called the firm faith, irrespective of whosoever so-called jnanis, so-called gurus also walk to that person and say, you are wasting your time, but the person's faith is such that it cannot be shaken. That is the best example of nishtha, nitaram sthiti, such a state from where I cannot be shaken up at all. My nishtha is such that it remains unwavered. And the core meaning of the word nishtha is such a state from where my mind cannot be shaken up at all, from where my mind cannot be wavered at all, my mind cannot be moved at all, even an inch, so to say. So for gaining Sankhya Nishtha, or for gaining the abidance in the self knowledge, for gaining that kind of a nishtha, for gaining such kind of a firm faith in the Sankhya knowledge, the cause or the facilitating factor or the facilitating reason becomes what? Facilitating sadhana becomes what? For Sankhya Nishtha, the facilitating factor becomes Jnana Nishtha. Jnana Nishtha will take us to Sankhya Nishtha. So one has to have firm faith in the self-knowledge, and that firm faith in self-knowledge leads us to the firm faith in the Supreme Consciousness and a complete abidance in the self. And those people who follow the Sankhya Yoga, or the Sankhya, the knowledge of self, those people have gained that abidance in the knowledge of self from what? Karma Yoga. So Karma Yoga becomes what? The facilitating factor. Karma Yoga becomes the facilitating factor to gain the capability to gain the self-knowledge, to gain the required qualification, or to develop the required qualification to gain the self-knowledge. Those people who do the sadhana of Karma Yoga, they are called Karma Yogi, and those who do the sadhana of Sankhya Yoga, they are called Sankhya Yogi. And remember one thing, Bhagwan has used the word only yogi for Karma Yogi. Okay, here he used what? Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam and Karma Yogena Yoginam. Bhagwan himself has coined that word here. Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. So Jnana Yoga becomes the factor, or the cause for, or people, or the facilitating factor or for developing the required capability to gain the abidance in the self. And for karma yoga becomes for one to become a yogi. So for karma yogins, Bhagwan is using the word yogi here. Now, the one thing we need to understand is whenever Bhagwan use the word yogi, you need to use the word yogi for what? Karma yogi here. And the other thing we need to remember is that, which I've already elaborated before also, whenever we do karma or whenever we do action as a sadhana in our life, with what at the back of our mind, with doership in mind, when we remaining in the doership level, remaining or becoming as a doer, remaining as a doer, whatever kind of actions I do, whatever kind of sadhana I do, even and those, it could be Ashtanga yoga also, if those are devoted to Bhagwan. Remember, the key word is what? Those actions which I do, even after, even while I have the doership in my mind, when I do those action, and with what at the back of my mind, as a devotion unto God, and devote those actions into God, then only those action that becomes karma yoga. Then only that person becomes karma yogi. Those actions alone become karma yoga. Remember, in case without devoting actions to Bhagwan, even if we do good actions, so to say social service, I'm just giving as an example. Well, if we do social service also, but the devotion to God, or or devoting those actions unto God is absent in that action, remember, that will be called only as an action. It will not be called as a karma yoga. If it is so, what makes the action as karma yoga? The only and only factor, or the prime factor which makes an action karma yoga, is devoting that action unto Bhagwan, unto the supreme consciousness, or unto God. Now, without devoting an action into God, even if we end up doing good work, social service, so to say, remember, that can at the maximum be called a good action and nothing more than that. It will never be called a karma yoga. It can never become a karma yoga, even if the action is good. We cannot call such an action karma yoga at all. So, what is at the core of karma yoga? At the core of karma yoga is our devoting the action unto God. Means what? I am an instrument unto God, and all the actions I do are nothing but devoted unto the lotus feet of Bhagwan. It is only for the happiness of God. That becomes the primary factor, or the core factor, which makes karma yoga. And in the fourth chapter, Bhagwan has spoken about many kinds of sadhanas for karma yoga also. But many sadhanas Bhagwan has elaborated upon in the fourth chapter. And remember, all the sadhanas which have been, all the kind of practices, sadhana means practices. There are many kind of practices which Bhagwan has elaborated in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, about different kinds of practices to be carried out in life, to gain in the right amount of devotion, right amount of qualification. But remember, all the practices Bhagwan have listed down there in the fourth chapter, they all fall under these two categories of Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. All the practices are within these two categories only. In the second chapter also, Bhagwan said what? In the 52nd verse, Bhagwan said, Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. In this 52nd verse of the second chapter, Bhagwan spoke about what is the pinnacle of achievement when you gain yoga nishtha, or when you follow karma yoga for a long period of time. Bhagwan in the 52nd verse elaborated upon the state which is achieved, or the pinnacle which is achieved by following the practices of karma yoga firmly and leading a life of Karma Yoga. And for reaching such a stage, elaborated in the 52nd verse, Bhagwan gave the sadhana as Karma Yoga. Whereas in the 53rd verse, the next verse itself of the second chapter, where Bhagwan said, Shruti Viprati Pannate Yada Sthasyati Nischala Samadhava Chala Buddhi Tada Yogam Avapsyasi. In the 53rd verse, Bhagwan elaborated upon the pinnacle of achievement or the state of achievement of those who follow Sankhya Nishtha in their life, who follow firm abidance in the knowledge of self. What is the achievement they gain? In that is what Bhagwan elaborated in the 53rd verse. And the practice Bhagwan elaborated there, the name of that practice Bhagwan said Jnana Yoga. So for Jnana Yoga, Bhagwan gave the achievement, the pinnacle of achievement in the 53rd verse. For Karma Yoga, Bhagwan gave the achievement in the 52nd verse. So Bhagwan and so clearly mentioned these two kinds of path, these two kinds of devotions, these two kinds of faith, so to say. Two kinds of path Bhagwan clearly elaborated, and Bhagwan clearly deciphered two kinds of qualified students, different categories of qualified students for each of these paths clearly. Where is there a mixture there? Bhagwan clearly said that here Arjun is using a word called what? Vyamishreneva Vakyena. And so through this is verse number 3, where Bhagwan says, Lokesmin Dvividham Nishtha Pura Prokta Mayanaga. Bhagwan says, Arjun, I already spoke very clearly in the previous chapter about two paths and the two different kind of practices for two different paths. So with this verse and by that words of Bhagwan, Bhagwan is actually negating Arjun's word or Arjun's, pointing what Arjun has done and blaming Bhagwan that your words, your mixed up words have confused me further, seem to have confused me further. So Bhagwan is negating that thing. Arjun, I never spoke any mixed up words at all. You may have understood differently. Now another thing also we would understand from this particular verse is, in between this there is an inherent question for all us seekers in here. What is the question which can come up in our mind also? That Bhagwan also point blankly never negated this fact, even though, deep down here, or in the sense, in the core sense, Bhagwan has negated Arjun's Vyamishrenava Vakyena. Bhagwan, but there can be one thing which can come in seeker's mind, that in this verse also, Bhagwan never clearly negated that, Bhagwan never made any mention about that point which Arjun said in the last in his questions, in the last two questions which Arjun said, the verse number 1 and 2, that Bhagwan, and according to what I've understood from your teachings is, in your mind also, oh, as compared to Yoga Buddhi, Sankhya Buddhi is better, is far higher. Now remember, one question which can come into our mind is that Bhagwan in this verse never negated that point. But that is the thing which you need to understand. Bhagwan never negated it here. Why? Because what Arjun understood there, that is correct only. That Sankhya Yoga is far higher than actually Karma Yoga, and that is correct only. That is why when Arjun asked that, in case Sankhya Buddhi is far higher, then why are you putting me into action? That too, not action alone, ghor kind of an action, a severe kind of an action, which involves killing my own relatives, is for winning a war. That's why Bhagwan says, Arjun, Bhagwan points out from here, without practicing Karma Yoga, without or putting yourself through practice of Karma Yoga, without employing you through the practice of Karma Yoga, the knowledge of self or Sankhya Buddhi, you cannot gain at all. You will not be able to gain that at all. You won't be able to grasp that knowledge at all. And without grasping the knowledge about the self, the Brahmi Sthiti which Bhagwan spoke in the last verse of second chapter, the 72nd verse, and that cannot be gained at all. And since I want you to become capable to gain that Brahmi Sthiti, which is the highest kind of achievement available in this creation, that is why I am employing you into action. Right? Now, in the fourth verse, Bhagwan is giving some kind of a explanation of that Brahmi Sthiti. Bhagwan is giving coining a different word for that Brahmi Sthiti. Remember, Bhagwan is bringing that again here. So let's read the fourth verse of this particular chapter. We will see whatever meaning we can see now. Rest we'll see in the next session. The fourth verse. न कर्मणामनारम्भान् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति न कर्मणामनारम्भान् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति. Another brilliant verse. The core statement or the core point which Bhagwan is highlighting in this verse is Purusha Ashnute. Means what? And Purusha means mankind. Here, Purusha doesn't mean the differentiation between Purusha and Stri, man and woman here at all. Please don't take that meaning ever in Bhagavad Gita at all. You remember one thing, for Bhagwan, all of us are same. There is no distinction between a man, woman, and eunuch here for Bhagwan. For Bhagwan, we are humans, and Bhagwan is addressing to the entire human mankind. For him, nobody is higher and lower in that at all. Nothing doing. Purusha Ashnute means the mankind or the human race gains at the end. What mankind gains at the end? At the end of life, man gains Naishkarmyam. Naishkarmyam means becoming free from actions. If you recollect, in one of the sessions in the podcast, I have said that all the shram, the gain we have from the shram, or after all the efforts, the result of all the efforts cannot be to put us in more efforts. The result of effort should be making us free from efforts at a point in time. Or let me say, all actions are done so that at the end of the day, I can get some rest. So rest is the final state where we all want to achieve. Here Naishkarma means what? All actions are done so that we reach a stage where we can reach actionlessness, Naishkarmyam. And as per Bhagwan, if there is any highest level of achievement for human mankind living in a human birth, that is reaching this state of becoming free from all kinds of action. And this Naishkarmyam, free from all kinds of action, is what Bhagwan has coined or termed as Brahmi Sthiti in the last chapter, last verse. Now, what is the meaning of Naishkarmyam? The meaning of word Naishkarmyam means reaching such a state where there is complete absence of all kinds of actions. कर्म का पूर्ण रूप से अभाव is what the word we should know from the meaning of the word Naishkarmyam. And for complete for reaching a state of complete absence of action, there are some things which we require as preset. For becoming free from all kinds of action, there is a need, there is a requirement that we should become free from these three things first. What is these three things? First is desire, second is doership, kartrutva, third is enjoyership, bhoktrutva. So for making us free from all kinds of action, what we need at that level is becoming free from all kind of desires, becoming free from all kind of doership and becoming free from all kind of enjoyership. That's why only such a state will be called as the state of Naishkarmyam, or free from all kinds of actions, where there are no desires at all, where there is no doership at all, and where there is no enjoyership at all. And for reaching a stage of complete absence of enjoyership, the only one facilitating factor will be that we already are filled with a kind of blissful state. Why do we have desires? Why do we have doership? Because we are searching for happiness yet. So to become free from or become reach a stage where there is complete absence of enjoyership, we need it to reach a state where we are already filled up to the brim within us with blissful kind of a state. We are filled with happiness, so to say. And for absence of bhoktrutva, or absence of uh, you know enjoyership, so to say, there are only two ways possible. Okay, first way is either something is completely inert, insentient, so to say, or in Hindi or Sanskrit we use the word jad vastu. It's completely inert. It's got no sense at all. In an inert thing, there will be definitely complete absence of enjoyership. Like I'm giving you an example: this pen, chair, all these things are completely inert. They don't have anything called enjoyership at all. Why? Because they are inert. They are not sentient at all. If something is sentient, if something is sentient, has got sentiency in it, has got chetan in it, has got consciousness in it, is conscious about things, it is not possible that at that sentient thing is neither have enjoyership, has completely, it's not possible at all. It is not possible that a sentient thing is completely free of enjoyership. It is only possible when what Bhagwan, as an answer of Arjun's Sthita Prajna question, Bhagwan used one word, if you remember, Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha. Bhagwan said in the second chapter, 55th verse, as an answer to Arjun's question of Sthita Prajna, that Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha, if somebody is completely contented, fulfilled, and in a blissful state, with what? With the self, by the self, all by the self, that person only can reach a state where there is complete absence of enjoyership. And that is a state, that is the meaning of the word called Naishkarmyam. And absence of desire is actually what leads us to the state of complete absence of action. Why? Because we all do action to fulfill our desires. And what you call, desires cannot be absent at all as long as we have enjoyership present in us. The At the core of desire is sitting what is sitting as a thought process is the thought of being an enjoyer. That means what? Then what will be the meaning of reaching a state of Naishkarmya? A conscious sentient entities reaching such a state where there is no presence of, or there is complete absence of enjoyership, so to say. He is contented and fulfilled in himself, all by himself. The sentient thing without having an enjoyership can only be there when it is understood itself and experience itself as a pure blissful state all by itself. Ananda Swarup. When it understands that I am nothing but that, what is that? Sat, Chit, and Anand. I am nothing but that existence principle who is the form of consciousness alone, and who is ever at a state of bliss. Who is at the state of bliss which only distributes bliss to everyone and else. Arjun, the ultimate achievement of human is what? Naishkarmya. Naishkarmya means reaching a state of complete absence of action, which means what? Reaching a state of firm abidance in the self. If one can attain that state, that is the state of pinnacle of achievement of a man. And then Bhagwan says, Arjun, you said, na, you are putting me into ghore karmani kim mam niyojesi. You only asked this question, right? Now that is what Bhagwan has said, and in the next portion of that, Arjun, if you think in the first part of the thing, na karmanam anarambhan, if you think just by not starting an action, you will reach the state of becoming free from action, you are completely wrong. Karmanam anarambhat purusha naishkarmyam na ashnute. Without reaching, by ensuring that by doing a thing like this, is that without, by not starting an action, if you think that you will reach a state of actionlessness, that is the biggest illusion you have. That is the biggest false understanding you have. And on the second side, what is the second thing which people do? By giving up middle way, those actions which have been taken up, if you think you will reach naishkarmyam, or you will attain the siddhi of naishkarmyam, that is also not possible at all. So these are two ways people understand sannyas as, that either I will not start the action at all, or I'll give up whatever I've started, I've reached sannyas. Highly mistaken understanding. Siddhim na samadhi gacchati. By giving that, you don't think that you will attain what you think is sannyas. Sannyas as an ashram is not a path of escapism at all. Rather, I'll use this word very clearly. If somebody takes up sannyas as a part of escapism, doesn't have interest in doing action, wants to run away from things, I'm sorry, you're highly mistaken. You are neither in sannyas nor you are in any other ashram at all. You are only wasting your time. So in the society, these are the two kind of common thought process people have, that either by not starting an action, or whatever actions I've got, if I give up those actions, I will I will be called as a sannyasi, or I'll attain sannyasa. Bhagwan is very clearly pointing it out here. Both these are very, very wrong understanding. They are nothing but illusion of your mind, illusion of your understanding. They are delusion only. And leading such a life, you are not going to gain anything. Rather, you will fall from whatever you have gained also. This much for today. Rest we'll see in the next session. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम. ओम तत्सत्.